If the mere thought of buying a home in Calgary right now has you literally running from competing offer to competing offer and fighting it out with the rest of the buyers out there, you're not alone. And that has so many wondering, in this current market, should I buy and fight it out or should I wait? All right, you're probably wondering, why am I dressed up in all this running gear? Well, it's actually because I love running, especially when the weather is this nice in Calgary. On that note, let's run through, pun intended, the reasons why you should buy in this hot market, along with the reasons why you should wait. Stick around till the end of the video and I'll give you my personal opinion on what you should be doing right now. All right, the run was great, but it's time to talk business, so I had to switch into the more business type threads. Let's get into it. Here are the reasons why you should buy now and not wait. For starters, prices probably aren't going to come down anytime soon, despite what you may have heard in the mainstream media or from your friend, from your Aunt Gladys. There are 60 people moving to Calgary each day, and they're coming from places like Ontario, British Columbia, and the United States because the cost of living overall is less here. That means that you're competing, and the longer that you wait, they're buying up those properties that you are missing out on. So yes, it makes sense to duke it out for the right reasons if it fits your budget. Get into those bidding offers. Lean on your agent or whoever you trust to get you in those situations where you can compete, whether you have conditions or whether you're competing unconditionally to get the property now, so that if things change, you can build some equity and start going that route. Oh, and before I forget, I'm Realtor, agent with Real Broker here in Calgary. I've got connections across the country and North America. I'd love it for you to subscribe to my channel and drop a like if you like what you see. Another reason that you should buy now is, let's say you're waiting for interest rates to come down. And let's say that they come down maybe 0.25% by the end of the summer, or even half of a basis point. Yes, that's going to make a difference to your overall monthly payments. But if the property that you're looking at that you lost out on, let's say because you waited or you didn't get off your keister and make that offer that could get accepted, suddenly goes up by 50 or even 80,000 because of everyone else that's kind of bidding these up, are you really ahead by waiting for that interest rate to change? The answer is maybe yes, maybe no, but if you already get priced higher than what you're approved for, that's going to make a difference. So waiting 3 months, 4 months, 5 months for an interest rate change probably won't make a difference to your bottom line, again, if you're budgeting properly. Another reason to buy right now, well, it has to do with rents and vacancy in Calgary. When it comes to rentals, there's simply not much to be had. Rental rates are pretty much the highest they've ever been in Calgary. And when you think of it from the standpoint of, yes, you don't have property taxes to pay when you rent. You don't have a lot of costs like redoing the roof and all those things. But if you wait and if you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, it might be the time to get into the market. And the scarcity of properties out there to rent is, there's just not that many. So if you're in a rental and you're already worried that the landlord is going to raise the rent, you're already paying a high amount. Yes, I get that you're not paying property taxes, you're not paying to fix the property necessarily. But on that note, it just makes more sense to start putting that money towards something. If you've been able to save it and you can afford it, it's in your budget, better to get on it now before the rates creep up even higher, and then you're priced out of not only getting into the rental you want, that you love, also the property that you want with a mortgage, let's say, and that you can own instead of renting. So there's a time to fight and duke it out in competing offers, and there's a time to wait. Here's why you should wait. It's because, let's say, and I had this happen with a client of mine recently, where we went into multiple offers. There were 32 different offers on the same property. That property was already overpriced as it was when you ran the comparables. We also had to go in with conditions. It turns out that that property sold for $70,000 over list with no conditions. And the danger of that is, let's say you even wanted to compete and go in with no conditions. What happens if there's a foundation issue? What happens when there's a repair that's significant? What if there's something on the survey plan that needed to be rectified that could cost $50,000, $60,000, or $100,000 to repair? Are you really ahead? The answer is no. Another reason to wait, whether you're a seller or a buyer, let's face it, if you're looking at, for example, a fully renovated property that's already priced high in this market to get it sold and people are bidding on it, let's say you get it, but you have to overpay to get it. And once you're in, there's literally nothing else to do. Yay, that's great. But when you go to sell it, even in a year or 2 or 3, and the market is shifted and you can't add any value to it, guess what's gonna happen? You're not making any money on that property, and you might even sell it for a loss. And when it comes to being a seller, let's say, for example, you've already renovated your property and you're ready to go and you're gonna get top dollar for all the renos you did. It sells for more than you thought it would. Well, let's wait for a minute to get something of equal or greater value on the other side. Are you prepared for the higher interest rate and the fact that the same property is now worth $100,000, $200,000 more? Does that make sense? Another reason to wait to buy, it comes down to interest rates. So for those of you that did get into one of those fantastic 1.5%, 2.5% several years ago, well, here we are just about basically 5 years later, and you're gonna see those renewals coming up. Are you ready for the shock of you're at a great interest rate and you're gonna port it to something that you love on a newer property, but guess what? Your payments are gonna be much higher, especially if you're looking to move up by than they were at the 1.5%. So maybe it makes sense to wait it out till interest rates ease a little bit in the next few months. According to the government of Canada, they're going to, and that way you can save some on your monthly payments and you can also save some on your total mortgage. All right, so now my own personal opinion. Yes, I'm an agent, but I can take my realtor hat off from time to time and think about it from the consumer point of view. And I personally believe in this market right now, it is a great time to buy. If, and this is a big if, you have a budget in mind and you don't go to the top end of your budget. If you're trying to compete against 32 different offers on the same property with conditions, forget it. It's not gonna fly, and it doesn't make sense because you're gonna be overpaying. However, when inventory levels do start to get a little bit higher, and they should in the coming months, combined with an interest rate change, that should make it so that if you're pre-approved already, in the next 3 months, get into something that makes sense for you, not because you have to or you're peer pressured into it, but because you want to, and you will build some equity. So those are mostly my thoughts, not yours. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. Drop me a comment or two below. And listen, if you want to talk anything real estate, just give me a call.